सरगोदा की मजहबी क़यादत, सियासी क़यादत और समाजी क़यादत का कट इस बात का ये सबूत है कि जो हमारी बेटियों के साथ मुल्क पाकिस्तान में रवा रखा जा रहा कानून, उसकी मजम्मत करने के लिए हम यहाँ पे इकट्ठे हुए हैं। और मैं एक बात और भी वादे करना चाहता हूँ कि ये कोई कानून नहीं बना, ये सिर्फ एक अदालत का फैसला है। बहुत सारे फैसले आते हैं और उस पर जब दूसरा कोई फैसला आता है तो वो तब्दील हो जाता है, और यकीनन ये फैसला भी तब्दील होगा और जल्द होगा।
वफाकी आईनी अदालत का ये जो हालिया फैसला मारिया शहबाज केस में आया है, जो कि एक मसीही बच्ची है, कम उम्र बच्ची है, 13 साल की बच्ची है, उसमें ये वर्डिक्ट दे दिया गया है कि कोई भी मुसलमान मर्द जो है कम सिन मसीही बच्चियों के साथ शादी कर सकता है, जो कि ये रियासती कवानीन के बिल्कुल बरखिलाफ है। इससे ना सिर्फ अकलियती बच्चियां चादर और चार दीवारी का तहफ़्फ़ुज़, बल्कि मुसलमान बच्चियां भी मुतासर होंगी कि कोई भी निकाह नामा की आड़ में किसी भी छोटी बच्ची को पकड़ेगा और अदालत में लेकर जाएगा, जी मैंने तो इससे शादी कर ली है। हम इस वफाकी आईनी अदालत के इस हालिया फैसले पर पुरजोर इसकी मजम्मत करते हैं और हम इसका रिव्यू चाहते हैं, और रियासती अदारों से और समाजी अदारों से और तमाम फोरम से दरख्वास्त करेंगे कि ये सिर्फ मसीही बच्चियों के ऊपर लटकती तलवार नहीं है, बल्कि ये पाकिस्तान की हर बच्ची के लिए, कम सिन बच्ची के लिए एक ये भयानक आउटकम बन जाएगा, भयानक एक ट्रेडिशन बन जाएगी। इसलिए आए और इस कानून की रिव्यू पिटीशन में हमारा साथ दें।
न्यू कासल क्रिश्चियन नेटवर्क NCN TV के प्रोग्राम आपके मुताबिक में तमाम नाजरीन को शमसन जावेद और फरियाल वाइज की जानब से खुशामदीद। नाजरीन, आज NCN ने इंग्लिश प्रोग्राम का एहतमाम किया है ताकि तमाम दुनिया में अक़लियतों की आवाज को पहुंचाया जा सके। पाकिस्तान में कई दहाइयों से जारी जबरी तब्दीली मजहब ना तो हुकूमत रोक पाई है, तब्दीली जबरी मजहब और ना तो हुकूमत और ना ही अदालतें इसको रोकने की कोशिश की है। नाजरीन, UNO और बहुत सारी ह्यूमन राइट्स तंजीमें और NGOs के मुताबिक पाकिस्तान में एक साल में 1100 अक़लियती लड़कियों को कन्वर्ट किया जाता है। पहले अगवा किया जाता है, फिर उनके साथ जिनसी तशद्दुद किया जाता है, फिर उसको लीगल करने के लिए उनको कन्वर्ट किया जाता है और फिर उनसे निकाह किया जाता है। और अलमिया ये है कि अदालतों में जब ये केस जाता है तो उस वक़्त शरई अदालतें, शरई कवानीन भी बीच में इंटरफेयर करता है, और यूं ये मासूम लोग और कम सुन लड़कियां इसकी बीट चढ़ती रहती हैं। हालांकि रियासती ला मौजूद है, फेडरल गवर्नमेंट, और फिर पंजाब गवर्नमेंट में अब 18 साल की लड़की और लड़का होना जरूरी है। नाजरीन, जैसा आप जानते हैं 25 मार्च को वफाकी आईनी अदालत ने मारिया शहबाज का डिसीजन एक दिया, जिसमें ना तो उसके रिकॉर्ड को देखा गया, उसको नजरअंदाज कर दिया गया, और वो डिसीजन दे दिया गया कि लड़की जो है वो खुद उसने कहा कि वो 18 ईयर की है, तो इस पर कुछ नहीं किया जा सका। तमाम कम्युनिटी इस वक्त सरतबा एहतजाज है। एंड नो, once again I welcome to all of you NCN TV, and now I hand over this program to Farial Wise.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samson. My name is Farial Wise. and I would like to first introduce you all. A good afternoon from me, and today we have Mr. John Bosco. He's a political analyst and an anchor. We also have Mr. Maurice Johns, and he works with the All Parties Parliament Group, or APPG. And we have Mr. Samson Salamat, who is the chairman for Rawadari Tariq. And I would like to firstly start off with Mr. Salamat. My first question to you would be, please, could you describe to our viewers what the Maria Shabazz case is? What are the facts and what happened in Pakistan regarding Maria Shabazz, that the whole Christian community in Pakistan and all the Christians are in an uproar?
Thank you, Frayal, and thank you, Samson Javed and NCN, for having me in your show today. Maria Shabazz, when she was allegedly kidnapped, she was 12 years and 9 months old. Her father had contacted police, he reported, and it happened in last year, 2025, the month of July. And the police didn't take any action. And then he moved to the lower court, then high court for the recovery of his daughter on the basis that his daughter is a minor girl and she cannot get married on her own or cannot change her religion since she is a minor. So the case ultimately went before the newly established constitutional courts in Pakistan. So the court actually in its judgment ruled that the Muslim man has that right to marry al-Kitab, means the Christian girl, although she is minor. So this has sparked anger and disappointment among the Christian community overall, but also the civil society here in Pakistan and across the world.
I would like to just add one more thing in there, if you don't mind. Where in the Quran or in the Sharia law does it state that a Muslim man can marry Christians? Is that a thing, or is that written somewhere? Because I'm not too aware if it is a verse that is written in the Quran, or if it's something that, you know, what is it about? Like, where does this idea come from that Muslim men are allowed to marry underage Christian girls? Could you please just elaborate a little bit on that as well for me? Thank you.
To be honest, I'm not expert of the Muslim Sharia law, but what I am expert is, and what I know is that Pakistan recently had this Child Marriage Restraint Act in Sindh province, Balochistan, and in the Federal Territory, and even last month we had an ordinance in Punjab which bars any of the girl belonging to any religion, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or belonging to any area. She or he, the minor child, is not allowed to get married. So this judgment is actually contrary to the Child Marriage Restraint Act that is actually present in Pakistan. So our first argument is that this judgment is contrary to the laws that we have for child marriage. The second one is that how a child, when that child doesn't have the right to have the national identity card before 18 years age, and the child cannot acquire driving license before reaching to the age of 18, how that child can, decide of changing his or her religion. So normally this happens either by force, and there are, avenues present here where people, get a kind of fake certificates of conversion of religion. So that's the whole scenario that the Christians actually face here in Pakistan. So
As
this judgment has actually sparked a kind of disappointment,
yes.
and anger among the Christian community here in Pakistan.
I understand that. Just one more thing. This has sparked obviously an outrage in Pakistan within the Pakistani Christian community, but isn't this an issue that is an ongoing issue, an issue that happens on a daily basis rather than it's not a one-off issue that's just occurred? There seems to be like a pattern. What would you say about that, Mr. Salamat?
Yeah, this is a pattern for many, many years now. And I personally have been extensively working on the issue of forced marriages and forced religious conversions for over a decade now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the state generally, or the state apparatus generally does not agree to what we, try to bring up before them. So there is a tendency of denial to the forced conversions here in Pakistan. So almost every week we experience a case of forced marriage, early marriage, or forced conversion. Almost every week of a Christian or a Hindu girl. The Hindus, since we have a lot more in Sindh, there are a lot of cases coming from Sindh province of girls belonging to Hindu community, but a lot of cases coming from the Punjab province, since we have a lot of population of the Christian community in Punjab province. So you are right that it's an ongoing issue. Maria Shehbaz case is not the first one. There have been hundreds of cases before Maria where the Christian or Hindu girls, they were abducted, they were forcibly married, and they were converted to another religion.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. I will get back to you, Mr. Salamat, but I would like to just move on to Mr. Bosco, please. So now that we know what has happened, please help us understand why it happened. Please briefly outline the historical events and societal factors that have led to the Federal Constitutional Court making such decisions.
Thank you very much, Faryal, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, Mr. Samson Javed, for organizing such a wonderful program for on this topic, because it is required that we should speak out on this. So the fact of the matter is why the court made this decision. That's the question. So what are the historical perspective? So the court relied on the outdated child marriage restraint, which was passed at the British time, that was in 1929, which means the child marriage illegal but not void, allowing such marriages to still be upheld. There are different things which we will also discuss. The judges rejected official age documents and instead relied on subjective factors like physical appearance, weakening legal protection for minors. And Brother Salamat has rightly mentioned about this, that for example, the Maria case is not the first one. There are many. For example, if we will go back in the history, that was I remember that was in 2012. It was about the Wrinkle Kumari, that was a Hindu girls. And then we remember Arzu Raja, and like our community, like we are vocal today for Maria case, we were vocal that time. Arzu Raja case, that was in 2019 and 2020. Then we remember the case of Huma Yunus, where courts upheld similar marriages. So it also highlights social inequality, where minority girls, Hindus and Christians are more vulnerable. So for example, there are few things which we need to discuss about this. For example, historical legal background. As I told you about, that's a colonial. And there is also pressure. For example, role of Islamic and jurisprudence, Sharia influence. And also we will see weak documentation and age verification system. Unfortunately, the documentation for example, the NADRA, it is not updated. Sometimes we present our Christian Baptist certificates, which are sometimes not up to date with NADRA, and also social power imbalance and minority vulnerability. For example, I can tell you, religious minority like Christian and Hindu from a small, economical, weaker segment of society. You know, the Christians and the Hindus, especially from the poor background. I'm not talking about the rich Hindus, but I'm talking about the poor. So these are all the factors which leads them, and also judicial reasoning trends, religious validity of conversion and marriages. I think Maria's case is not the first, or it is not the last.
Absolutely.
Trust me, it is going to be until and unless this law, especially for the 18 years, will be implemented across the country. For example, the Punjab government has passed through the ordinance, not it was approved by the assembly. That is also what Sindh has already passed. So I think it needs to be implemented across the country until and unless such cases will continue. So we need to focus on this.
So what can we do to actually, because you've mentioned so many cases just now, and I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands of many more cases. But what do you think that the Pakistani government or the people who are standing up for the rights of minorities, what do you think? How can they sort of play their role to improve the situation for the minorities?
Yes, that's a very good question, and I know that Brother Salamat and the other people who are in Pakistan, they always raise the voices. Especially, we need to give, the government must give the right to the Christians to select their own members through the proper election system. For example, we have different people in assemblies, provincial assemblies and national assembly. Unfortunately, they do not raise these questions because the people who are sitting in the parliament, their role is to pass the law. Unfortunately, they are very weak. They do not raise these questions. Why? Because sometimes it seems that they are a mouthpiece of political parties. Because political parties, just look at, because you, me, we are all, except for Brother Sampson, we live here. The parliament, for example, the MP's role is to legislation. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, the Christian elected member or the representative, they do not play their key role, which is that is their role. That okay, whatever the problems their community are facing, they need to raise these in the parliament and make sure that the laws are passed for the minorities.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. That was very thorough. Can I please also ask Dr. Injili, first of all, welcome. Could I please ask you to add something to what Mr. John Bosco has said? Could you please tell me, because as far as I believe that there was a certificate of Maria's birth that was shown, but it was rejected. That was shown initially by her father, which stated her age. So why do you think that the court denied that completely and decided to hand over this child to this man?
Thank you very much. Frial, this is a very complex situation and a very complex case. But what I would like to do is add a bit of clarity to it, firstly by answering your question. And that is, we believe that people who are meant to be doing justice, we expect them to do justice. Sometimes our expectations are very falsely placed, and what we get is not justice, but what we get is what the majority clamors for. We know this has happened before. We know this happened in the case of Asia Bibi. The lady went through incarceration for about 10 years nearly. And then the Supreme Court decided that there was not enough evidence that she committed blasphemy. There was never enough evidence at this session court. There was not enough evidence at the appellate court, at the district level courts and high court. And why did we all? Because the decisions were not being made based on justice. Now, to answer your question, the documents that have been rejected were not documents given by some Christian pastor or a church member or whatever. These were NADRA, National Department or Directorate of Statistics, and that authority which actually issues passports, issues ID cards. They have the full database. The question arises, if you're not going to honor their paperwork, whose paperwork are you going to honor? This is a house divided among itself. Government agency and government justice department not working hand in hand, but saying we don't believe in it. It's like a university issuing a certificate or a degree to somebody and saying, no, we don't believe you're an educated person because I've got your degree, I've got your university's paper. No, we don't believe in it. This is very, for lack of any other word, this is a very ridiculous statement. It should not come to this.
Absolutely.
And you cannot be denying and rejecting. Of course, if there is a mistake in it, if there's an error, then point that out. But to blanketly say that we do not accept this document, we do not accept the information it provides, it is absolutely not right. And so I think here we are not only dealing with the Department of Justice, of course we are dealing with them as well, but we are also dealing with some very deep-seated opinions, very deep-seated biases, very deep-seated beliefs, false beliefs, that these courts are above the law. No court is above the law. The courts are there to ensure that the law is enforced, and nobody is above the law, including the courts. And if they are not doing that, then of course something is seriously wrong. Something is seriously wrong with the Pakistan judicial system, as it is proven by the fact that we are very low on the international indices of judicial systems in the world.
Thank you very much, Dr. Njiri, for your insights. Mr. Maurice Johns, as the General Secretary of All Parties Parliamentary Group, or the APPG for the minorities of Pakistan, you have consistently sought to highlight and support Pakistan's minorities. Regarding Maria Shabaz's case, what do you believe should be our strategy to assist the Christians of Pakistan? And I can understand that you work with all minorities, but with this specific case where it is about a Christian, what do you think would be the best way for us to assist? Please.
Thank you, Faryal, and thank you, Samson Sahib, for giving me this opportunity to come on your show. As you know, Faryal, that I work for the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Pakistani Minorities in the British Parliament. So we concentrate on all the minorities, but since this particular one concerns Christians, but the Hindu minority suffers as much as we do in Sindh province. So it is a common problem for both communities. In the APPG, we had a parliamentary inquiry carried out. I will show you, I don't know if the camera can show it. And a report was issued in 2022. And as the previous speakers have said, this is nothing new. It has been going on for many, many decades. And unfortunately, despite signing several international agreements, Pakistan has failed to protect the most vulnerable parts of the community. The Christian and other minorities are already below the margins. And then the women or females are even persecuted more in those communities. And then the young minor females, they are at the bottom of the heap. So they are persecuting and intimidating the most vulnerable part of the community. You cannot go any lower than that. So when we carried out this report in parliamentary inquiry, we had evidence given by several girls who had escaped this hell, I would say. And their parents, their relatives, they came to the inquiry as well. So we had a very detailed inquiry, and we had not only the minorities, we had Muslim lawyers and professors taking part, and including the Islamic Ideology Council. They were able to put their point of view as well, and we produced that report. Coming back to this case, this particular case, we had issued a statement immediately and sent that to the Supreme Court of Pakistan. We had contacted the British government and informed them about it, and also got in touch with the local press, and we have passed the information to the UN Special Rapporteurs for freedom of religion and belief, and for the Special Rapporteur for minorities. So those all have gone to those different people.
Thank you.
And we are in touch with the Dr. Shoaib Sadal and National Commission for Human Rights as well.
Thank you. And have you heard anything back from them at the moment? You said you've contacted quite a few different sources. You've contacted the government as well. Have you had any response from them? Anything that they've said?
No, nothing from Pakistan. We've been informed by the Foreign Office, UK's Foreign Office, that they have received and they will consider that. And we've informed the parliamentarians, and we will carry on working in the UK and internationally. I will be preparing some parliamentary questions to be asked from the government in the UK. And we will be preparing some resolutions to be put into the parliament.
Absolutely.
And as you know, the Pakistani government takes much more notice if the international community gets involved.
Absolutely.
Rather than their own minorities.
Yes, that's correct. It's quite sad, actually, that, you know, even while we're talking, there is this, 13-year-old child who's, constantly, being forced to stay with a man that she does not want to be with. And while we're talking, it just reminds me that she's still with that man and she's still suffering. And I wish that the government could do something about it a bit quicker. But that also takes me to my next question, and that would be for Mr. Salamat. So the term al-Kitab is used in this case. Please, could you explain who is this al-Kitab for? Is it for females only, or males, or both? Could you please tell me a little bit more about this? Thank you.
Actually, the term al-Kitab is used for the Christians, and the understanding generally when you say al-Kitab, that means that the Muslim man can marry a Christian girl or female. And it's not vice versa. Means the Muslim girl cannot marry a Christian boy or a man. So that actually is contradictory to the right of choice. If you advocate this case as a human right, the right of choice to get married, but that is also can be being considered by not a minor, but the one who has the right to get married under a certain age. But Ahl-e-Kitab means the Muslim girl cannot get married with a Christian man or a boy. So that is the whole understanding of this being Ahl-e-Kitab.
It's a very selective term, it seems. Why do you think this would be? Why can it not be vice versa? If a Muslim man can marry a Christian girl by force, why do you think that it's not vice versa?
Well, it's a general attitude that we see here. I know many cases when the Christian boys or the men, they eloped with the Muslim girls, and when they try to get married, there was a lot of reaction against the Christian community overall. Like the reaction that we see in after the blasphemy allegations. The same reaction comes from the Christian community because they do not tolerate that a Muslim girl gets married with boy from another religion. So that's the kind of general attitude. Maybe they feel that the Christians, as you know, there is a general perception that they perceive the Christian community or other minorities being inferior from
Right.
them, rather than treating them as equal citizen or as equal human beings.
Right. Thank you. Also, I know you've mentioned the age, but I just want to mention it again. When Maria was kidnapped, she was 12 years, 9 months, and 20 days old, a small child. And that brings me to my next question. Mr. Bosco, one crucial factor, as I mentioned, is the age of this female in this case. Please explain the age restrictions for females in matters of marriages in Pakistan, please.
Once again, thank you. I think all our panelists have already described. It is not the age matter. It is the attitude, and the attitude is all about. I think all the department. For example, if the parents went to the police station to lodge the complaint. Unfortunately, the police, they are not with the victims. For example, in this case, Maria or Arzu or Wrinkle Kumari, whoever. But the problem is that they know that in Sindh, the age is 18. For example, just look at in some incident, we have seen they have taken a girls from there and they brought them to Punjab. And then she was converted. We have seen some incident, the Hindus girl, the two girls, I still remember, me, Dr. Anjali, we have done the program on our television. The problem is that that's the lack of justice, which Dr. Anjali has described earlier. It's a lack of justice. And it is not from the federal court or the Supreme Court or any court. It is the mindset. It is the mindset, and the mindset always goes towards the weaker, and the weaker are the Christians or Hindu. Why the other minorities? Have you ever heard about the Parsi girls? You will never heard, because the Parsis are the richest people. The Christians and the Hindus, they are economically very weak. And our system does not provide the justice to them. For example, if we will take the example of 16 years, but that girl is not even a 16, she is only a 13 years old. And there is also, and one of the things, all the court members, for example, the judge, mostly the judges are the Muslim judges, and they are always under pressure. They knew that, okay, if they will give the decision in favor of the Christian man, in this case the father, what about the Muslim community? They will pressurize them. It might be possible they will be threatened for the blasphemy cases. So that is the problem. The problem is the mindset, and I think they have to deal with the iron hands. Otherwise, I'm telling you, Maria case, I know that Morsab, they are writing a letter to the Pakistani government. We are doing our best, whatever we can do, but we do not have the system. We have to streamline the system where the justice will be given to everybody, no matter what your religion is.
Absolutely.
So in regards with Samson Salamat, what he described earlier, I just wanted to mention you, unfortunately in Pakistan, nobody accept the marriages between the Muslim and the Christians. But there are some countries, for example, if you will take the secular countries where the Muslim and the Christian, they are going very, very well, or even the Hindus, the Muslim and the Hindus. So that is the mindset. We need to change the mindset, and also we need to streamline the system.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Bosco. I also want to just add that on April 11th, 2024, UN in Geneva expressed concerns about the underage marriages and of the protections of the minorities. There are so many NGOs that stand for it. Why is it that still we are not where we should be with this? Because it's an ongoing issue and people take note of it for a little while and then it just kind of dies down. What do you say about that, Mr. Bosco?
Well, I went twice to Geneva and I also went to European Union. Unfortunately, the delegations which goes there, they presented their for example, I can tell you that is based on, for example, what had happened. I remember when we went in 2012 in Geneva, we presented that the minorities are victimized for the blasphemy. Unfortunately, just look at that. We went there in 2012 and the blasphemy laws are not changed. So you can present your case there, but that doesn't mean that they will pressurize from there to your government. But it is not, there is no any evidence that the government will accept them. Government will only accept when they wanted to change. So that is one of the reasons I tell you, okay, whatever you are pressurizing from the international, whether it's a European Union or the UNO, but the important thing is that the government should and must realize that minority is a part of Pakistan. They are not a second citizen. Once they will realize and they will make the changes in the constitution, they will provide the justice to everybody, poor or the rich or the minority or the majority. I think then you will be able to find out. Just look at that, what UNO is doing. People are crying for different things, but the problem is that this is all depending on the local. For example, the Pakistan has to change the rules. Pakistan has to make sure that everybody will get the justice. That's my.
Thank you. No, that's great. That's really insightful views from yourself. Thank you so much. Just want to go back to Mr. Maurice Johns. So matters of marriage fall under personal or family law in Pakistan, firstly, and how do you think that the APPG platform can help the affected parties, Maria Shabazz in this case, of course? Have you been in contact with her parents, or have you been able to get in contact with her or anything? Please, if you would like to tell our viewers about that as well. Thank you.
No, Faryal, we haven't been. And I think there are plenty of people working in Pakistan like Mr. Salamat who are in contact. We in turn are touch with those organizations, but not personally with the concern Maria Shabazz or her family. Coming back to the age issue, which Dr. Njeli and Mr. Bosco brought up as well, I think that is the critical issue. And once that, it took a long time to convince the courts to accept the NADRA certificate. Every country in the world has a national institute, and their papers are considered authentic. You can't question them. And it took a long time. Once it was accepted, now the court has made it suspicious again. So that is a pity in this case, because that means that even the international institutes will not consider those papers as authentic. We need to go back to the court and say that you have to accept the NADRA certificate. Before that, there used to be vague requests for considering a girl's age, like they would say we will have the medical test, but they are not very scientific. You can't really, and this was extreme this time, that the judge said, we are looking at this girl and she looks mature. Everybody looks different. Every girl, every boy is different at that age. And to consider something, to say this girl looks above 18 to me, this is not what we expect from the Supreme Court's justices. This is something you expect somebody saying that in the street, not from Honorable Chief Justice.
Absolutely.
To come up with the statements like that. This is really very disappointing. So I think we need to concentrate on the Nadra papers as the legitimate and authentic papers. And once that describes a girl's age, that should be accepted, not come back with some other test. I think that needs to be emphasized.
I mean, hearing all this, sounds a bit silly coming from, court saying that she looked, over 18. It doesn't make any sense if you look at it from, our point of view. That's like you said, honorable court, making a decision. It sounds like a very immature thing to even bring up. But thank you very much. I really appreciate all the things you have discussed. Dr. Injili, would you please add something to this, or do you have anything to add to what the other gentlemen have said?
Thank you very much. They have all been very thorough, but there are a few points that I would just like to highlight. Firstly, I would like to go back to what Samson Salamat Sahab was saying, that the court has decided that the Muslim man has the right to marry. I just want to underscore that word right. My daughter is my daughter. Okay, put it in commercial sense. She is my property. She belongs to me. Okay. And all parents' children belong to the parents. Nobody has the right on my children. Nobody has right on them, even if they have grown up. They are individuals in their own self, in their own right. So for the judge or court or anybody to say that a Muslim man has a right over my property, over my car, over my child, over my wife, a right, this is just plain, I would like to say, for lack of anything else, this is plain nonsense. Because common decency, common courtesy, common sense, and this is also against the common consciousness of humanity. You can't just say that because I am somebody and you are somebody else, I am a Muslim and you are Ahle Kitab, therefore I have a right to marry your daughter, right to marry your sister, right to marry, or right to whatever. And this is again something that we need to understand in Islamic society, and I'm not referring to Pakistan specifically only. They like to hide behind Islamic terminologies, which they themselves cannot identify and define. For example, ye kalma go Musalman hai. Kalma go Musalman means this is a man who has accepted Islam by reciting the kalma. If that is the case, why can't the Shia men marry Sunni girls? Why can't the Sunnis marry Wahhabis and, but all those different people within the sects within Islam, they do not like to marry each other, and they don't. In fact, girls have been killed, women have been killed for intermarrying within the sects. And yet when it comes to Ahle Kitab, we are not a sect. Ahle Kitab are Jews and Christians. Then all Muslims become rightful owners of our daughters and our sisters and the females of the community. And this is something that we need to look at. The same sort of confusion is created by calling people kafir and mushrik and whatever else. So this whole Islamic terminology is used almost as something authoritative, almost like immutable formulas of physics by which the whole universe is being governed and cannot be changed. But you ask them, what is a kafir? What is a mushrik? They won't agree with each other. Absolutely. They won't even agree with each other on who can marry who within Islam. And yet when it comes to daughters, sisters, females of Christians and Jews, Ahle Kitab, rightful. Another little point that I would like to make is something that was said by Brother Bosco, and that was the superiority complex in Pakistan for the Muslims. I personally have written off UNO in my mind. UNO, I believe, is a toothless tiger. You can go to UNO, they can't stop a war, they can't start a war, they can't make sure that people are given their human rights, they are a club in which all the rich and powerful politicians meet. They enjoy meals, they enjoy the fanfare and all that. But there was a time they were doing a lot, but now as the time is going by, it seems like they have lost the sting in their tail, as to say.
Absolutely.
The last thing, and the last thing I would like to mention is simply this: that in Pakistan, unfortunately, the only golden rule is he who has the gold rules.
Absolutely.
Muslims, they have all the money and the power. There is nobody to challenge them. There is no common courtesy, no common decency, no common sense, no respect of the law, no respect of Nadra.
No.
You know,
Absolutely.
Benazir Bhutto said, in Pakistan, you can buy everything, including justice.
Absolutely, which is what it seems like that has been happening, and people are doing that very freely. Muslims seem to be doing that very freely to the minorities. Just one more thing. I know we don't have much time left. Mr. Morris and Mr. Bosco wanted to add something. Mr. Morris, could you please start with what you wanted to add? Thank you.
Yes, just adding to Dr. Injili, what he's just said. I would like to add that it's exactly right. The girl, if she is under 18, even according to the Muslim Shariat law, she has a guardian or a wali. And without guardian or wali, she can't get married. All four schools of thought of Muslim law agree on that. And if it's obvious that the guardian will be her father or her brother or her male relative. So I think that is worthwhile exploring. In our inquiry, we had the Islamic Ideology Council, and they agreed with that approach as well, that if the concept of guardian is introduced to the Christian minor girls as well, that will to some extent help to stop this practice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mr. Bosco, please.
Yeah, although we have covered everything, but it's just my comment. I think it's the very bad practice, the judgment which the federal court has given. I think it's like a hanging sword for the Christians, for the minority. And you rightly questioned earlier to Mr. Salamat that how would you differentiate about the al-Kitab? Is it for the girls or is it for the boy? And I think, Mr. Salamat, if you could please, after, I'm not talking about in this program, if you will please update the Christian diaspora who are in different countries, that what the steps we are going to take, or what steps we are taking to revert this decision. I think it's a very bad decision, and I think the minorities they are very much scared of this decision. That was my comments only.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Salamat, also just wanted to ask, so where do we go from here? What sort of happens next within this case? What would be the update and the further step to take in this particular case?
I think that's the most important question, and I think one point we need to understand that the Maria Shahbaz case has once again is an evidence of the reflection that we in Pakistan as Christians or minorities are not being treated as equal. It's not the matter of one judgment, but it's starting from the Constitution of Pakistan, and the whole structure of the state tells us in different ways that we are not the equal citizen or equal human beings. I just invite you to think of that if Maria Shahbaz was not a Christian girl, there was a Muslim girl instead of Maria, the result could have been different. The judgment could have been different by the court. That means the religious bias that influenced the mind of the judge. So that's very, very clear. And this is not the first time. I am the witness to so many other cases where in the court, judge said that from the appearance of the girl, she does not look minor. So that means he's giving the certificate denying of all the evidences provided by the victim family. So that mindset needs to be tackled, starting from the Constitution of Pakistan. So that is number one. Regarding the judgment, I think I met the lawyer in the Maria Shahbaz case. I met the family, and they are working on the review petition. I think we need to put pressure on the government of Pakistan, the judiciary of Pakistan, that this judgment should be suspended, and Maria Shahbaz should be given back to her parents, because she's a minor girl. She even according to the Child Restraint Marriage Act that we have in Pakistan, she's a minor girl and she cannot get married. The other thing, I think we need to work extensively on the implementation of child marriage restraint laws that we have in Pakistan. That's very, very important. And this should be for all girls, either they are Muslim girls, Christian girls, Hindu girls. We should work on the implementation of these laws. And we should always demand for a law that we have been demanding for many, many years now, to criminalize forced conversion. The state should come up with a mechanism for conversions rather than, just relying on cases. We need policy. And any conversion before the age of 18 should be banned. And people involved in forced conversion should be, apprehended, and there should be punishments. But unfortunately, I would like to mention here, other than the individual cases, this forced conversion business is going in Pakistan in a very systematic way. I would like to mention this dargah of Barchundi Sharif in Sindh, where one of the Peer, Mian Mittu, called Mian Mittu, another one in district Umarkot, the Peer Sarhandis, they have a kind of very systematic way of converting people. A lot of people, they bring Christian and Hindu girls to them, and they convert them to Islam. So I think this is not just the individual kind of cases, but this is going very systematically. And I am sorry that despite the fact that we have been crying for a long time now, the state has turned its blind eye towards the cries of the Christian community and other minorities.
Absolutely.
And this is what we need to push. Criminalize forced conversion, implement the Child Restraint Marriage Act, and suspend this Maria Shahbaz judgment.
Absolutely. I completely agree with your view. But I think also the difficult part also comes once the conversion and the forced marriage is done, then they can bring up any excuses, that it was a love marriage, they converted with their own free will, they can torture them to, lie. So what happens if that's the case? And that's for everyone, anyone who would like to answer this question. Basically, what do we do for this, where they can lie and just sort of make a false scenario stating that the girl has converted with her own will?
If I could quote another case from Faisalabad, couple of years ago, she was a minor, Myra Shahbaz. Where I was in the High Court, Lahore High Court, when she was handed over to the boy, the judge said she doesn't look minor, she's mature, and the judge ordered to send her with the boy. And after a few months, she was able to flee from that place. That means she gave the statement in the court that she got married with the free will, but under some special circumstances. And whenever she got the chance, she fled from that place, and she came back to the parents, and she reported that she was forced to do that statement. That means this argument that the girls, they go on their will. If they are above 18, and if they want to go they on their choice, that should be fine. But if they are minor, the parents are the natural guardian, according to the national law and according to the international human rights mechanism, including the Child Rights Convention. So the child enter into a wedlock.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
May I just add a few sentences here? Just going back to the point I was making about al-Kitab and the right to marry them, I just want to leave with one question. All the Muslims are, by default, Ahl-Quran. They are people of the Quran. Do Ahl-Quran have the right to marry any other Ahl-Quran? Or do Ahl-Quran have the right to marry any other Ahl-Quran's daughter or sister or a female from them? If they do not, then what gives them this extended right into the people who are not even Ahl-Quran but Ahl-Kitab, another religion, Jews and Christians? This is something that needs to be looked at very carefully. It is very easy to say Sharia allows us. There is no codified one document called Sharia. As Mr. Morris Jones has pointed out, there are 4 schools of jurisprudence within Islam.
Absolutely.
There are the Hanbalis, and there are the Shafis and Malakis and all that. So there is no agreement. And yet, once an incident like this takes place, everybody keeps quiet. Why don't the Muslims, Muslim scholars, Muslim jurists, Muslim academics, Muslim politicians, Muslim civil rights leaders, why don't they then say, hold on, you don't even have this on Ahl-Quran. How come you are extending this to Ahl-Kitab and to minor girls? And especially when there are no male relatives to consent to all this. This is a quagmire, but it seems like that everything can be whitewashed in Pakistan just because the court has ruled it.
Yes, and as a medical doctor, could you please also tell us what kind of effects would it have on a child being put through all these traumatic things, being forced into marriage, conversion, being away from, her parents. So as a medical doctor, what do you think the kind of trauma this leaves on families and the children?
Well, that is like asking me to tell all the species in the ocean within 3 minutes. It's an impossible task. It is very great. I would just like to comment on also the intelligence of the judge who gave this judgment. He decided that his own vision, his own assessment was enough to do away with the X-ray dating and ultrasound dating of the bones and all that sort of thing. What is in it appears, she appeared. So that was one absolutely medical statement from the Stone Ages, number one. Number two, to coming to your question, what sort of these kind of incidents, they ruin a person's psychology for rest of their life. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a recognized medical condition. And when people go through rape, when people go through forced conversions, when people go through bombing in war situations, they need treatment and psychotherapy for many, many years, sometimes for the rest of their lives, just to keep them sane and balanced. And these girls we are talking about, they are not fighting age men. They are dolls playing age little girls. They are girls who need a brother or a father or a mother to accompany them to go and buy the pair of shoes they want to buy or the bread from the store. So here we are dealing with absolutely a very vulnerable group of individuals, and the trauma that is being met on them is almost of, catastrophic proportions. So I can't as a doctor even begin to say what these poor girls are going through.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It has been great having you all, getting all the views from you all, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time and being on the show. And it is now time for us to say bye. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Frayal. You run this program very well. Thank you very much again, Dr. Akhtar Ajili, Morris Jones, John Boxo, and Samson Salamat. I hope everyone liked this meaningful talk show. Thank you.
Thank you very much.